Hey everyone at theeverydayfan.com. This is your interviewer, Candance Cordelia, and I am here with the one and the only Killian McMurphy, all the way from Maryland. What's up,
Hello.
Killian?
Hi, Ken. Thank you for having me.
Of course, I had to have you on the show. You're up to so many things, and we've known each other for so many years now. So, obviously, welcome. This is great.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to talk to you again. I think we haven't had a conversation like this in probably right when the lockdown started. Maybe I think it's the last time we spoke.
Yeah, it's crazy because I remember it was actually full circle. You're right. It was around when it first started with the lockdowns, and we were talking about that. And now here we are with things opening back up. People getting vaccinated. You're in a brand new state, and you're doing a lot. So, I mean, I want to obviously get into your background, but first, because you're up to so many things, let's talk about that. What's going on with you now? You've moved to Maryland, as you were just telling me before we got started.
I moved to Maryland. I got a new place in Maryland. We just wrapped season 1 of the big goddamn cinematics. We had a nice little 7-episode arc that involved the 1CW Bulletproof Championship. If anybody's missed that, the last episode is improv. So if you're a fan of improv comedy and friends acting obnoxiously, watch that title defense. It's pretty funny. We got like you said, Killian Vision. I don't know if we were on the air yet, but Killian Vision coming up on IWTV, which we have a few more things to shoot for that. So just staying busy, taking bookings, doing cool stuff, rocking and rolling.
As always. And what is Killian Vision actually? The aesthetics of it, I saw on Twitter, it looks phenomenal. It has a very 80s type vibe. What is that all about?
People are gonna have to see. I'm just gonna say it's my vision. So whatever madness that you would think would be in there, that's it.
Yeah.
I will say there's, despite being my vision, not one reference to Sonic the Hedgehog. So could it really even be my vision?
I'm so shocked because I know that's your jam, Killian.
That is. It's the only thing I care about. That's the only media I consume. When I say I'm doing tape study, it's like a Robotnik Sonic fight. It's not a wrestling match.
Yes, this is fast. I'm so shocked. So, we were talking before we got down to the nitty gritty. We talked about you winning the 2021 Super 8 tournament. Fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And you're of course, and you're also the current ECWA Legacy champ, which is huge. So what was that moment like for you, when you became the title holder?
I liked it because I took it from Eric Martin, and I don't like him. He's a piece of garbage. And he thinks he's all cool because he got all swole now. He grew a beard and got all swole, and now he looks like me, but tall. So and because he's so tall, that makes me even more mad because he's like 6'4", the big bastard. It was the most exciting thing about that for me. It was a big moment for Dustin. Dustin Wilson, Big Dust, my manager. It was the first time, and ECWA has been around for like 50 years now, right? Mm-hmm. It's the first time ever that a manager has debuted and won a title, like, for the person he's managing in the same show. Like, it's the first ever title win debut for a manager, which is pretty crazy.
Oh my gosh, we should have had Big Dust. I'm gonna have to get with Big Dust again.
You do. He is talk about red hot. I forget who was saying it last night, but somebody was saying COVID was rough to a lot of people, but not Big Dust. Big Dust took off and got nominated for 2 IWTV Moments of the Year. Had a bunch of crazy matches with big names like Kakoa and Erica Lee, and he had made his GCW debut at Fight Forever. The first year making his GCW debut, that's insane for a manager, especially. Helped us catch Edith and CC Boost when they jumped off the second floor. Mm-hmm. He's been doing crazy dives, so you got a lot to ask him. And then, of course, he was an essential part of Killian Vision, filming a lot of that stuff I could not have done on my own. So essential. And not only essential to that, but of course essential to all the cinematics we do. Like every big goddamn cinematic is at least 50% Dustin, if not more.
Yeah, yeah. And he has that film background. You know, I remember we talked about that when last year when the pandemic was just starting, and we had a really good rapport about the film industry and his background. So, you know, you lucked out having Big Dust as a manager.
I did. Don't tell him. I hope he doesn't listen to this, because last time I was on a podcast and I talked about him, I just buried how his knees are bad the whole time. So I'm trying to be nice this time. I won't mention how he has awful knees that if a strong breeze blows by, they'll fall apart. I'm not going to talk about that.
See, now I have to get him on the show so he can clap back, because...
Oh, no.
You know, but I really appreciate the fact that you're at least giving Big Dust some props, because one thing that I've noticed, you know, during my time in the industry is, you know, the manager. And a lot of people have stated over the years that there seems to be a lack of, you know, really big name managers, and that at one point in history, managers, you know, were really prevalent on the big, or rather the small screen, I should say. But now, you know, there are managers, obviously, but it seems like people are asking for more. So what are your thoughts about that in terms of the role of the manager in wrestling?
Well, there's not a lot of good ones, right? Like a lot of managers, and I'll take this from my original trainer, are the fifth ring post. So they just stand there. They don't serve a purpose. They don't do anything. A lot of them aren't trained. But Dustin can wrestle matches. Dustin's fully trained. Dustin can back bump. Dustin dresses really well. Like, the reason I think we're seeing a resurgence in not a resurgence, but I think the reason we're seeing Dust blow up like he is because he's so refreshing compared to what the usual indie wrestling manager is. Because they're usually nothing. They're usually like, and I take pride in, if you have a tool, if there's a scene, and you know, it's the whatever his name's Gun theory. If there's a scene and there's something in the scene, it should probably have to do with the scene and like be used in the scene. So if there's a person standing there, why would they just watch me lose? You know what I mean? And I see that so much in the indies where managers aren't working. And like, if I have Dustin in a match, I'm going to have Dustin doing 4 to 5 different things. Like, it's all about using the tools at your disposal. Like, I think it looks silly, like I said, to have a scene all set up, something big and obnoxious right here, but we're not going to use it.
That's really profound. You know, we're talking about what you've been up to now and your manager, but we have to take a step back and look at the journey of Killian McMurphy to some degree. How did you get your start in the wrestling industry?
How did I get my start in the sense that, like, how did I figure out I could do this, or how did I like start wrestling?
Let's go with the start wrestling.
I was just started Facebook messaging people, like messaging like local wrestlers that I see, and like, hey, where can I train? Where can I train? Where can I train? Where can I train? Until I found a place like an hour away from, you know, I was living with my parents at the time, an hour away from my parents' house, and started rocking and rolling from there.
And yeah, what was the scene like? Because you, as we know, you started off in Delaware in that sense. So what was the scene like then in Delaware as a wrestler for you?
It once I got out of Delaware and came back into Delaware, I rose through the ranks very quickly, because that's not a thing that happens a lot. A lot of the people here in Delaware are concentrated in Delaware. But more and more you're seeing people like A.K. Willis, like Jason Andrews, like all of the goons, where we're branching out and we're saying, hey, we're from Delaware. Hey, we're from Delaware. Which, excuse me, when I started, that wasn't the case. It's very rare to have, you know, the Briscoes.
Yes.
Briscoes were Delaware. You know what I mean? That's it. Like, that was the end of the sentence.
So what was the moment when you realized that you could actually do this and carve a professional wrestling career for yourself?
The Daniel Bryan Bray Wyatt cage match on Raw. I think I was like junior in college, maybe a senior, maybe a sophomore. No, definitely the junior or senior. But I saw that and I was like, this is easy. And then I did it and I was like, this is easy. This is even easier than I thought it would be. And that's why I'm the best. And that's why I won the Super 8. Because it's so easy. I don't know why everybody else has such a difficult time with it.
I don't know either, Killian. You seem to be excelling. Definitely within a year, as you stated, that was hard for a lot of people. You know, we had this pandemic. Folks weren't able to train for, you know, an amount of time. And you managed to still keep working well into this year. So talk to us about that journey and your secret, if there was any way or secret in terms of just your continued success.
Well, honestly, I feel like if you took time off and you're just now coming back, just don't come back. Just don't come back. Just stay away. Just stay away. Because if you really wanted it, you would have been working this whole. No, I'm just kidding. I know everybody's got their own situations and all their stuff going. I couldn't even say that with a straight face. That's something that I've wanted to tweet. I wanted to tweet that for so long, but I know people will get so butthurt about it. But it would be so funny. It's like when I did, if you weren't, I tweeted after WrestleMania. I was like, if you weren't in Tampa this weekend, you're obviously not a good wrestler, and you should quit. And everybody got so mad. It was so great, especially because everybody in Canada, you know, the borders are closed, so they couldn't have come even if they were booked. So they were all fired up. Oh, it was so funny. I don't even remember what the question was. What was the question?
I lost my
what was my secret to keep working? It's just you got to be hungry. You got to be hungry. You have to make the connections, and you have to, you know, MCW wasn't around. Beyond, you know, took time off. So like a lot of the best places that I was getting booked before the pandemic, I wasn't able to just keep rolling into those. So you have to make adjustments and you have to change things. And sometimes you got to just do it yourself. Like I just had a series of 7 episodes that one of them was an hour-long podcast, and it was just all content that we produced. And during the pandemic, the only thing happening with 1CW were the Killian McMurphy Big Dust, Big Goddamn Cinematics. And it's just all about having that hustle and then going and get it. And sometimes that might not even be wrestling. Like I know a lot of people have been Twitch streaming like crazy and like doing great things with it and being very successful at it. So it's all about finding a different thing. Because like the cinematics we do, those aren't exactly wrestling. Like I've been working, but not everything's like a professional wrestling show. Not everything's a professional wrestling match. And those adjustments might even be like learning to work without fans, which was a very real thing. And if you spin it right and you use those tools, you can use it to make you a better performer. Like if I'm in there and there are no fans, they can hear everything I say. Mm-hmm. And I talk so much in the ring that I have to talk that much more when there's no fans, in the sense that I have to be like, you're stupid, you're stupid, you're stupid. Take this hip toss, you're stupid. I hate you, I hate you. And like always have something like ridiculous to say, whether that be like singing. Like I've been doing a lot of like singing lately in the ring, like duetting with Dustin. He's like outside and we're like bouncing around and we're like singing a song. It just doing like more ridiculous stuff like that to fill the gaps that would usually be crowd noise.
Mm-hmm. And now with fans, you know, coming back at least slowly, with stadiums opening back up and tour dates coming back, which is super exciting. Do you think it's going to be difficult for you to get back in the groove of having those fans in the stands and not being able to like talk to Big Dust and sing and do all of those things?
We're still singing. We were singing. We were in front of fans last night. We were singing. We were singing great. Yeah, I wrestled Erica Lee on the 1CW pre-show.
Yeah.
We kicked it off with a super hot match, which was a lot of fun. But now me and Dustin, we were chirping the whole time. It was in front of fans. The fans were going crazy. I can still hear everything fine. Like I can still listen. I can still adapt. So no, I'm great. I'm great, Candace. Any questions? If they include worry in them, you can just cut them. You just cut them. I'm not worried about anything. I'm vibing.
Like, why do I keep asking? Because I know I already know that you're just going to be fine, but I'm doing my journalism, you know.
True.
I still got to ask, you know. And speaking of Erica Lee, I'm seeing her name pop up at a lot of different places. She's also killing it in wrestling as well. When it comes to intergender wrestling, is that something that you can see yourself doing more of in the near future?
Yeah. I mean, I over the last 2 years, probably, I've had a lot of really good intergender matches. Like, I toured up with Erica Lee last night. One of the Leapfrogs, Erica and I tore it up. Vanna Evans at Fight Club. Who else? Angelus Lane at Primetime before they shut down. You can watch all these matches on IWTV. I've had a lot of bangers with a lot of really talented women. Still Life, Edith Surreal now. She had just changed her name to Edith Surreal, like before the match aired. Like, we wrestled when she was Still Life, and then her match was Edith, and then her name was Edith, and it was a whole thing. But we had a banger at Cassandra. Molly McCoy had another banger at Cassandra with me. And there's so many that, like, I haven't got to work yet. Like, particularly like Trisha Dora. Like, I would tear it up with Trish. Trish is so good. We've like rolled around a little bit at world famous CB's, you know, Burger's place. We've rolled around and had a couple training sessions together before, and I can just feel it. I mean, you can be around a person a lot of times or see their work and know, like, oh, we would put on a banger. But, like, the little bit I got to roll around with her, like, I know we would tear it up.
Yes, I would love to see that. Trisha Dora, that was the first name in my head when I asked that question. I was like, I could see you and her.
Imagine me going for the belt.
Yeah, there it is.
How obnoxious would that promo be? That'd be some heat.
You know what, though? You are gaining such a following consistently in terms of just how much you've grown with your gimmick and not being afraid to take on that heat. It's something that I've noticed with your talent as time has gone on, that it's so great to see, Killian, that you're unafraid. You're just unafraid to be yourself. You're unafraid to call people out. And we need that in this industry. We need that chutzpah, you know?
Rico Hendricks was threatened with a knife last night at the 1CW show. Everybody was like, and I was like, let's go. Back here. I said, tell him, bring him and his knife. We have about 8 wrestlers in the back still. I said, maybe one of us get a little stabby stab, but the rest of us be fine. We'd beat them up.
You're like, if someone gets stabbed, it's all good. Just
I'd go for him first, so I'd probably get stabbed or whatever. I'm still on my old job's health insurance for the end of the month. I'd be all right.
You gotta love it. As long as the ambulance is there, as long as they have, you know, someone on standby, the EMT, you're like, it's I'm down with it. I can't argue with that, you know.
They did. I think legally they had to.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation. That's one thing I'm not gonna step into. But you know what? You mentioned Camp Leapfrog, so we have to touch upon that because that's also gotten major since last year. So how were you approached to be a part of that project?
Chris and I, one of my original trainers, John Patrick Trowski up at the Sanctuary, supremely great, also broke Chris in the business. So Chris Levin, old Impact ref. We had done a few Impacts, like drives together, like up to Windsor and like a couple other places we had hung out there. So that's kind of where I got to know him through doing like extra work for Impact. And then from there, we kind of like hit it off. And then eventually when he got his own thing with Leapfrog, I think I was one of the first people he had in mind, particularly to work Josh Adams. He's now Violence in that Falls Count Anywhere match. I think he was really looking for someone with an edge, which a lot, like, no offense to them, a lot of those old Jakar guys don't have an edge. So he really needed somebody for this like beat down, all out, or somebody entertaining and funny at the same way. Because the absurdist of a what is it? Are You Afraid of the Dark street fight? Like even that name alone, like that's what we have. Like very 90s, very goofy, but you know you're gonna be doing like, you know, street fight stuff. So I think I was the perfect candidate for that. From there, I kind of brought the goons with me without asking. And I said, these are my goons. I want them in this spot. I want them to do this one thing in the match. And they were like, okay. But Chris really, really liked what Dustin and Miles did. Miles showed up to the next Leapfrog, and he had gotten, like 10 pounds heavier. He's getting all jacked now. So it's really just as much them taking off as me at Leapfrog. Like, they're killing it.
Yeah, you and your goons, like it's become a real thing for sure. And the whole concept of Camp Leapfrog, it's very intriguing. I was reading about it recently, and I knew about it prior, but just to get the backstory of it, it's quite an interesting origin story. So where are you guys trying to take it now that summer is practically here? You can go back to camp again and do some more episodes. So is anything cooking up right now for another iteration of Camp Leapfrog?
Oh yeah. I mean, they just had the heavyweight Big Calix's heavyweights stream live. I think even better quality of that is going to go up on IWTV, with some other camera angles and stuff, which is really, really cool. That's at the campground. And then the next thing we got coming up, big goddamn Killian Bishop.
Yes.
That's not just at the campground. That's up here. That's probably here, because I don't want to leave my house to film. It's gonna be all over the place.
I'm feeling it. We can't wait. It's just so refreshing, and everything is really innovative, and you're just taking off with it. Now that you're in Maryland, a lot of wrestling, Ring of Honor is based in Maryland. So do you have any plans to do anything with ROH?
Yeah, I was just on the phone with them 20 minutes ago, and they said, Killian, we want to give you $1 million. You're gonna come in. You're gonna beat Berger. You're gonna beat Berger right away, and then you're gonna beat Ryan. Then you're gonna beat Ryan and Berger in a handicap match.
So now we gotta look out for that.
That's dropping. That's dropping their YouTube channel. Very. Ryan though, they're great. Ryan, I found out, Ryan Mooney, I don't know if, he returned to Ring of Honor after time. Huge BoJack Horseman fan. BoJack Horseman. Yeah, we got in like a 20-minute and a 40-minute, two separate conversations about BoJack Horseman.
So I know a lot of people watching this, they're not going to get that whole reference, but Killian and I, when we were talking last year around the same time, we got into BoJack and Gossip Girl. I definitely wanted to ask you about the reboot.
Pretty crazy. I don't know a lot about. I don't know really any information about the reboot. I just know that the reboot's happening. I don't know if have they said who's going to be in it or anything.
Oh, absolutely. We have the actors down. We have none of them have. Well, I don't know if they have anything to do with the original cast. If anyone's a sister, brother, cousin, but they have the actors. It's coming out in July. It looks. I'm down for it. I'm just really hoping that they don't, mess up the whole tangibles of what made Gossip Girl so amazing. It's you have all these new people, but don't mess up the flavor, because
and they got a lot. They got a lot to fix too with Gossip Girl. There was a lot of things that are you watch back and you're like, that didn't age the best. I'm not sure about this character. We're supposed to like this person now, but this happened. There are a few beats, and in fixing that, there's a lot of room to mess up, right? Very scary. They could do a lot wrong with it for sure.
That's so true. I mean, we'll see. I'm sure it's going to be set for Generation Z. From what I've read, there's going to be a lot of things that are just a bit more forward to. We live in a time with Euphoria and all of these different progressive shows based around teens and adults. So I think they'll fix whatever hasn't aged well with the original Gossip Girl. I think they're going to kind of fix it with this new cast, but we'll see. I'm excited for it.
It's HBO Max.
Yeah. A channel that, I don't know how many people have HBO Max.
I got it. I last thing I watched on there, Godzilla versus Kong.
I still haven't seen that.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's it's a kaiju movie. It's the big monkey and the big lizard are cool, but I don't care about it.
Exactly. Yeah, I watched Selena and Chef. I don't know if you ever heard of that show, but it is fantastic. It's Selena.
No, I've heard of people like talking about it, but I've never seen it before. Is that an HBO
great.
thing?
Yes, it's Selena Gomez learning how to cook virtually because, you know, with the pandemic, it's like quarantine cooking, but it's so great because it's like, it's relatable for people who don't really cook or don't know how to cook because she's in the same boat. She's just learning along. And if you don't know how to cook, you'll love it because it's just complete epic fail. In her mind, it's fail, but the food ends up coming out good every time. And she just keeps surprising herself. So I really like it. I really
That's awesome. That sounds like a fun.
It is fun. It is really fun, especially now that pandemic. I mean, I keep saying things are opening up because I'm so excited. I'm personally excited. That means wrestling is coming back a bit more full speed, both on the independents and in the professional circuit. So what are your plans, Killian? What else do you have coming up besides Killian Vision? And you're going to be in Ring of Honor. Just put it out there in the universe.
That's right. That's right. Burke, world famous CB, get ready to beat me up.
You know.
What do we have? Very, very, very exciting project for Pro Wrestling Magic coming up. It actually involves Erica. I don't know how much I can say besides that, but make sure you tune into That 90s Party, which is coming up next Saturday on IWTV. And you will see what we're going to kick off is something very, very, very special. Very exciting.
Oh, that's a name. Pro Wrestling Magic is another promotion that I think deserves more shine. I mean, even pre-pandemic, they were really doing a lot of great stuff and coming into their own. So I'm super excited to see what you guys have planned for that.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's pretty crazy. I can't believe they let us do it, but they let us. Yeah. Great. It's a lot of
trouble. I spell trouble afoot.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Big trouble. Big.
We love to see it.
Big trouble.
You know, you mentioned Cheeseburger, who I've interviewed. I interviewed last year as well. Fantastic person, wonderful wrestler. Yep. And you've been training at his worldwide dojo in Bristol, Pennsylvania, even during, you know, when lockdowns were happening. So
that's when I started. I started when he opened back up from lockdown. I was like in that first couple weeks back. Mm-hmm. We had talked. I think we had. I don't know if I had met him before the first Leapfrog. I'm sure around somewhere I'd met him, but we had like spoke extensively after the first Leapfrog, maybe even before it. But around the time of the first Leapfrog was when I enrolled into school, and I love it up there. It's great. Him and Sumi, very intense, very like nonsense, but very understanding and very fun, very patient, and very knowledgeable. Like both of them, incredible people to learn from. It's great.
We got to give respect to Sumi Sakai. I mean, she's an integral part of Worldwide Dojo as well. What was that experience like, you know, doing the training and really getting into things with both of them? What's their style like?
She made me shoot wrestle with Matt Mikowski. I said, what the hell? She said, you wrestle, right? I said, yeah. She said, how long? I said, and I told her how long I'd been working. She said, okay. But she meant like wrestle. I said, oh, that was a little less time. Yeah. He beat the shit out of me. It was great.
She's not playing around. Sumi strikes me as someone that she's just all business, you know, work hard.
Yeah, she is, but at the same time, she's like very funny. Very funny, very down to earth, very patient, very understanding. But yeah, she training's hard, very hard.
Yeah. I can so see that. And that's fantastic that you were able to work with both of those veterans who have so much skin in the game. They're able to give you of what they know and impart that wisdom to you.
Yeah, definitely. I've been trying to take some time recently to poke around at some different schools too. I was just at H2O and took a class under Preacher Monday, and he's great. I think it was Monday. No, Tuesday. Tuesday I was there in Preacher's class, and he's very knowledgeable. He's somebody who, ever since I did the old Dojo Wars at CZW, like I've been wanting to do a class with him. I was able to make it to CZW to train under Mike Keener, who trained Eric Martin, actually, Dave Reed, Chuck Payne, some other people. But Preacher had a class at CZW too at the time, and I'd always wanted to get up for one of his too and never did. So I was really excited Tuesday to get in there with him and like a bunch of his students, and Frankie Picard was there. Very, very cool.
That's what's up. I like it. You talked about one of your dream matches being against Trisha Dora, and I'm so here for that. I'm going to put that in the universe for you as well, because I really want to see that. Are there any other dream matches that you'd like to have?
I want Angela Bassett in a big goddamn cinematic.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I want Angela Bassett in a big goddamn cinematic, and I want Ken Penders, who used to write for Sonic the comic book. I want him in a shoot fight.
Okay.
And then I want Trisha Dora in a wrestling match. Those are my three.
All right.
But first, I'll get rid of the other two. I want Angela Bassett in a big goddamn cinematic.
You want to mess with Mrs. Bassett? I mean, Wakanda, right. Whatever. Do you want to mess with Angela? I don't know if it's going to be good for you, Killian.
Well, she better look out. Could you imagine me doing a scene with her and her just like absolutely making me just like look like the worst actor in the world? It'd be like, what was the movie she did with Whitney Houston?
Oh my goodness, I can't believe I
can't remember either. But every time they were on screen together, like it was like a third the dynamic of like, this is the best actor to ever live, and this isn't an actor at all. This is a singer. God, I can't remember the name.
That's horrible that I'm forgetting, because I'm listening to the soundtrack in my head. I know this. It's like a little tot when it came out. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called.
To me.
Good yeah, movie.
Absolutely. Even though we can't remember the name. We are horrible.
It's like something. I want to say like different names, but I keep just coming up with Motionless in White and Falling in Reverse, and I'm like, those are emo bands. But it's something like that.
You took it there.
Whitney Houston, Angela Bassett movie.
Yeah, we gotta look this
Waiting to Exhale. Yes. I knew.
I was like, I know it has to do with bad relationships and female empowerment.
Motionless in White, Falling in Reverse, Waiting to Exhale. They all sound like emo bands. I was on the right track.
That would be an amazing name for an emo band. Waiting to Exhale. That's actually, look, any bands that are watching this, if you can't come up with a name, we gave one to you.
Yeah.
It's unforgettable. Waiting to Exhale. That's fantastic. That's so cool. So Killian, it's always awesome speaking with you. It's always awesome catching up, and your career is only going to go upwards from here.
If I don't get canceled.
But you know what? I think that would have already happened by now. If you were gonna get canceled, I think we passed the boat.
What everybody tells me.
You're safe. My last question for you, Killian, is, speaking of Angela Bassett, you're also an actor. I don't know how many people realize this, and wrestlers are actors either way, but you have a certain gift for it. We can tell just by the way that you come across the screen and the way that you interact with people. So are there anything that you're thinking about doing in terms of acting in films, acting on television, getting really into that arena? Is that something that you've been pursuing?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what the timeline is because COVID kind of put a hiccup in it, which I think it did with a lot of film projects. But we have this, it's called Interview with a Hoarder 3. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say the name, but it's a dramatic role. And it's my first ever dramatic role. I'm usually like goon number 1 or like thug number 3, something like that. But it was good to branch out and have a dramatic role and play things straight. And that's, I don't know what the timeline is, but I'm very excited for people to do that.
Okay. Okay. And is this an independent feature?
Yeah.
Okay, very nice. Yeah, very cool. Look, when it comes out or when you get more information, let me know. I'll pass it on to the masses. You know, that's really exciting.
Absolutely. I'm a little baby on set, so I'm like, I don't want to ask anybody like, hey, when's this coming out? When's this coming out? And I'm just like poking my head in, like, thanks for having me. Want to ruffle any feathers? Oh, here I go.
Do you find yourself? Does anyone even ask you about your wrestling career while you're on set? Do your castmates know about that part of your life?
Yeah. Most people know that, like, that's more or less my catalyst for being an actor. But I try to not use it, but you know, you got to use whatever you can. I mean, to get a leg up. Use it in the sense that, like, use it as a leg up for auditions or in auditions or something like that. And it is advantageous when you're doing like stunt work, right? Like, yeah. Also, I don't want to get penciled in as funny fall down man. You know what I mean?
You want to be a serious actor eventually. Yeah.
Exactly. Look at me. I don't look like a serious actor.
I mean, you're going to be in the next, look, what's going to happen is you're going to be in the next Waiting to Exhale 2.0 with Angela Bassett. Well, rest in peace, Whitney Houston. They can't replace her. So I don't know who else is going to be in it.
I'm playing a role.
You're gonna be like either a lawyer or you'll play like one of the, you know, a divorcee. I don't know, but it's gonna happen. I could see it.
I'm definitely like the Act 1 boyfriend, the scumbag boyfriend at the beginning. That's definitely me. I'm not the third act boyfriend that saves the day. I'm the Act 1 boyfriend.
You're like, I just pop in, do my thing, and
say some mean shit. Say, what are you doing, babe? Babe, shove, get out of my way. I'm mad. Nah. And then somebody who's like more tall and handsome than me comes in and is like, hey, come with me, babe. And she's like, oh God. I just wrote a Tyler Perry film right
You
there.
Really did. So what you look, hit up Tyler Perry, hit up Angela, hit up everyone. Just, you know, no fear, Killian, no fear. That should be your new moniker. No fear, Killian McMurphy.
Yep, it's my favorite band in the 90s.
There it is. What are some of your other favorite bands before we kick off? You know,
my favorite bands. I've been listening to a lot of Sublime
lately. Oh, that's taking it all the way back.
Very much a vibe. Very, very much a vibe.
I concur.
Ounces of Freedom, like every single day for the past month.
It's a good look, and you know, I've been on that same wave too. I'm really into just getting back into the bands that I listened to in the 90s, the early 2000s. I don't know. I feel like it's relevant to what we've been through and what we're going through now. A lot of the music that came out, you know, then. That's just me, but it really is a vibe. So I feel
absolutely.
It really is. But Killian, it's been so rad, you know, catching up.
Yeah.
I
Thank you for having me.
Of course, I can't wait for us to meet in person at one of these shows.
Yeah, but it's been too long.
It really has. But look, you're doing your thing. You are going to continue to do your thing, and we can't wait to see what else you have in store. You know, it's going to be fantastic. Thank you so much, Killian.
Yep. Watch Killian Vision. Everyone watch Killian Vision. Tune in later this month. Next month. Yeah, later next month.
Get it right.
Yeah.
Good. We love you, Killian. And thank you so much, guys, for tuning into The Everyday Fan, where we have a lot of amazing content, interviews with some of your favorite wrestlers, and we can't wait for you to check out more. Stay tuned. This is Candance Cordelia with Killian McMurphy signing off.